Hey everybody, it's Cindy over at paper.old.new. We're starting off good. Um, Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me. I'm so happy that you decided to today. I hope you enjoy yourself while you're here. And I wanted to say thank you to all my new subscribers, all my existing subscribers for sticking with me. And I am making with more of my envelope mess. I know, it seems like we've been on this one forever because we were on the book page thing for so short a time. And I am looking at maybe doing a few more of these and then taking a break from envelopes. I don't know what we'll move on to next, but there will be a few more of these. I feel like there's just more to do with envelopes. So today we're going to make these little semi-soft journal traveler notebook cover things. I don't know what you want to call them. They end up being, this is going to be based on the size of the envelope that you use. This one ends up being 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 1/2. So 4 1/4 by 9 1/2 happens to be what I end up getting out of this envelope. This is junk mail from, yeah. So what I'm going to do, and you see that I cut a window in it. So I'm going to show you my process for doing this. There is also a pocket in the front of this cover. So so there is a pocket here to stick something in, and it goes all the way across. Well, what the heck did I do? It was supposed to go all the way across. Apparently it did not. Maybe I just didn't make it that wide. I don't know. Anyway, so if you watched last week's video where we were doing the belly bands with the window pockets in them, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to, that's the other thing I don't know if I did. Let's see. I'm going to stick the ruler down in here and see how deep this pocket is, because I don't think I put it all the way to the bottom. No, I didn't. It's just below the window. So because this is a cover, if you really wanted to, you could take your pocket all the way down. I am not going to do that because I don't want this window to be part of the pocket. That's going to get covered up, although it's going to be covered up on the front, so it won't matter. I didn't do that in this one. Maybe I will do it in this one, just for fun. Let me get my glue mat back. Guys. I say that a lot. Guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this, and then I'll show you how I do the window in the one, so that I have one single piece of paper to make the cover with. I am going to make this pocket big. So you could do this pocket any size you wanted. My other one cut off right about there at the top of this second window. So we are going to put this down, and then we are going to trim all the excess off. Right? Okay, so let's go up that side and up that side, down this side, and all that kind of thing. Now, because I covered the entire inside of this, the inside part of this envelope is basically reinforced. I mean, if you didn't want to cover the inside of this anymore and you were okay with the white, you could leave it like this. For this one, what I did was I covered the outside and then I lined the inside with a coordinating paper. Okay, and we are going to try and do that here. So let's go ahead and get our front cut, and this gives us our pocket in our cover with mine is only going to have the one top window. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to, you could keep the second window depending on what you were going to use the journal for. My thought right now is, you know, like stacked specimens, and then a specimen number might look kind of cute through a window on a card. You know, something like that. And, you know, maybe I'll try that down the road, but right now I'm lucky to just get this done. Okay, so I have measured this window. This window is 1/4 inch wide, 1 1/4 inches wide, and 4.5 inches tall. And I know I want fold over to wrap my edges. You guys know how I am about finished edges, especially on if this is going to be a journal cover. I want that to be a nice, clean edge. So I'm treating it just like any other journal cover where we wrap the edges, except right along where there. Obviously, I can't wrap that. I'll close my pocket. So I'm going to do some measuring, guys. I know we all hate the M word. And I think we're going to have it on this in the red, since I have so much. Wait. I don't want the yellow around the window. But I could put a little bit of yellow around me. Maybe I'll do... trying to figure out how I want to do this. Nope. It would have to be that way. Can we have, I don't know, a little bit of cooperation here? Okay. Yeah, I think we could do that. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to draw some lines. I know you guys don't like measuring, but this is how I get the window, and I cut it out of one piece of scrapbook paper. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my rectangle with my lines. I know I want my window, because of how wide this is, I measured from here to here, and then I know how much excess I want. So I want the line, the first line, to be 2.5 inches into my piece of scrapbook paper. My first line is going to be 2.5 inches in. Really praying I get this right. Okay, so we're going to do like this. And then I want my next one to be 1 1/4 inches past that. So we're going to go over 1/4, and then we're going to go 1. So it's going to be right here at the 1 3/4 mark. Or at the whatever 3/4 mark. Okay, so that's the width of my window. Now from the top, my top up here isn't as wide, but I want some fold over. So what I am going to do is I am going to make it taller and then trim it on this side and fold it over on this side. Because I still want it to fold over on this side. So if I do it right up to the edge, I won't have any fold over for this. Because this is going to be all one piece. Let's put the pin in that. And let's move all my stuff. And I want to go 2 inches down on this. All right. And we're going to go like that. And then we're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So right here. Like that. Okay, and then we have, that's my window. Can you see my, I'll lift it up so you maybe, can you see my rectangle there? That's going to be my window. Now, what I did was I very carefully kind of curved my, if you don't mind, these are round corners. If you just cut this corner to corner, the white is going to peek out on all 4 corners. That is entirely up to you. If you want it to do that, then don't worry about it. And you can just do this with a ruler and a straight edge, cut that rectangle out. I am going to make this more complicated on myself. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball rounded corners. Like that. And then we're going to come around this one. Like that. I'm going to do all 4. They are not by any means going to be the same but somehow, some way, when I did this the first time, it worked out. So that's the way I did it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch this right here in the middle, and I'm going to cut a slit like that, and I'm just going to cut this out. And I'm going to try and tear as little as possible and go past my lines as little as possible. But, I mean, now if you're really good with a craft knife and you can cut around a curve, maybe you can do this with straight edge and then just do your curves. I don't know that I could do that. Maybe one of these days I'll attempt it. Once you get this first one done, it gets a little easier once you get around that first curve. So we're just going to cut this rectangle out of here. Just like that. And on my first one, I had a few tears and I had a few mishaps. But when you go and you glue it down, it tends to glue your tears closed. So it kind of repairs itself for the most part. Okay, and there's your window. And see, like that one's really kind of wonky. I don't know if I can fix that, but we'll give it a shot. I don't want to make it too... All right, and then when I put this over top of my thing, it fits. Yay. Are we not loving that? I love that. Okay, let's put it on the glue mat. And we're going to start by gluing around the window and getting the front part glued down. So let's get around this window. I want to make sure that my edge around my window gets glued down nice and secure. So we're going to go all the way around here, like this. And then we're just going to glue it down like we normally would. Now, normally I would say make sure you get all your edges good. And that's not to say that you shouldn't get all your edges good. But remember, I said I'm doing this like a regular journal cover. I am going to fold around most of the edges. So the only edge that's really going to be an issue is going to be this one right up here. And you just have to be careful because when you squeeze the glue, it's going to glue. It might glue your pocket shut. But other than that, all the rest of the edges are going to have fold arounds. So I don't have to be quite so finicky about it on this particular piece. And probably, guys, I'm only going to do this one. We'll do this one inside and out, and then so you can see how I did this, and then you can give it a try. So let's get this down. Make sure we get our window lined up, and then the rest of it is okay. And again, you can obviously, if you wanted to do any inking or anything, you would do that before you glued your window down here would be the easiest time to do it. Okay. I'm going to turn this. Okay, now all we have to do, this one is out where I want it for the most part. The rest of this, I'm just going to eyeball it based on where I am in relation to the envelope. We're just going to eyeball. Because if my piece didn't go on the envelope straight, laying this down and trying to line it up with a straight edge isn't going to work. So I try to line it up along the envelope edge as best I can and eyeball it straight also as best I can. That's probably a little wide, but I haven't just, it's easier for me to do it this way. But I don't know if I'm going to take any off of there or not. I might just roll with it. Okay. All right, listen, you. It was sticking. Maybe I will trim it a little bit. I'm trying to, I mean, the reason to trim this one would be not anything other than reducing bulk. I mean, I just don't want the bulk. Okay, and it curved in on me for some reason. Okay, and then we're going to do it the way we do any other. This is my pocket up here. So we're going to do this the way we would any other pocket, any other fold over. I'm going to clip that at an angle. And then we're going to cut here. I'm also going to do this at an angle. And this whole piece here, once we get everything folded down, we can cut that piece off. Okay. So we're just cutting all our corners out, just like you do any other time you're covering. And of course, cutting your corners out is a thing we do to get rid of bulk, right? So if the bulk doesn't bother you, what I'm using happens to be cardstock. So the bulk would actually be an issue. When I start folding cardstock on top of that corner is going to get really thick. And then whatever I line it with, the corner is going to get thick anyway. Okay, so we'll fold the sides over like this. Because that's my front end. So when I fold this in half, that's going to be my front and back edges, right? Now, these fold up. I don't want to fold the envelope itself, so just like that. The other thing you might want to do is, and I'm going to do it here, I'm going to clip these so that I don't have a big piece of cardstock to fold at my spine. I'm not going to have one at the top. But that way, this doesn't have to fold around a big piece of something. This ends up being excess anyway. I think I'm going to leave it. Okay, and then we're going to fold this one down. And like I said, it's already cut free, so it's not going to interfere with my spine anyway. So get all of this down, and then we'll cut this off. Okay, and then we have our pocket, which in this case goes all the way down to the bottom. Right? Now, let's glue all our flaps. So I think I'll glue top and bottom first, and then we'll glue the sides. All right. Yuck. All right. Okay, like that. Get my rag. I have no idea. I thought this was kind of a cool idea of something you could do with envelopes. I am not ready to make these into journals. They're going to go into a box of covers that I have. These would actually probably be, because they're so thin, little companion journals, or just like a mini journal or something. So definitely not, a full-size journal with a whole bunch of signatures in it. Okay, we'll get that flap folded down. Just kind of gotta keep rubbing until the glue catches or something. I feel like when I first put it on there, it wants to pop up. Okay, let's get that folded. Okay, now let's do these edges, and then hopefully we can fold it. Now, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to make lining for the inside. And obviously, I mean, we're at the point now. I wanted to show you how I cut the window and did this all in one piece. And it's not perfect, but it's paper crafting and it's handmade, and perfection is not really what we do, is it? Okay. All right, so that one's down and all folded, and this one's down and all folded. I don't know if I could do that here. Yeah. And then here, let's get this like burnished really good. Okay, now, so that's our cover. Let me get this out of the way. All right, and what we do now, normally I would say just fold on the fold of the envelope. What I normally do is try to line my edges up, just like you would a piece of paper. And that way, if I've cut the envelope or trimmed it on one side or the other, or, something has gotten out of whack in the putting together of this project, if you're refolding the seam of your envelope, it's not, the end of the world, and you'll even your journal up. And there we go. That's our journal cover with pocket. Now we're going to make a liner for the inside, and I'm going to use this because I think it's gorgeous. Okay, now what I need to do is measure. Okay, so if a signature is going to get sewn in here, that's obviously going to take up some space. You've got a little bit of wiggle room on how wide, on how wide you need this to be. So like this says it's 4 3/16 almost. I don't want to get that exact, if I'm honest. And I think I cut to 4 1/8 when I was making this one, and I ended up having to trim them. So, because I did kind of want I don't know if you can see that, but I left the edge where I folded around. I left it so you could see it a little bit. So I'm thinking, since this is like 4 1/8, I'm thinking I do it 4 inches wide. So we're going to cut 2 4-inch wide strips. And hopefully that's wide enough for back and front. I folded it in half, so both halves should be the same width. All right, so we're going to do 4 inches and then 4 more inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically it's a 12-inch piece of paper. We're cutting it into thirds. Guys, And we deal with our mistakes. Okay. If I can cut this one straight, the center one is the one I'll put in my scrap box because I cut into it. Whereas on the other one over there, it went wide, so it's more than 4 inches at the top rather than less because it went in that way when it kicked. Okay, anyway. All right, so yeah, 4 inches is perfect because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room out here, and this should get covered up for the most part when I sew in. And I might even put a strip of washi tape or something up the middle there before I sew, just to cover that white gap up, just in case. And no harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Okay, so 1 4-inch piece, another 4-inch piece. Now we just have to get height. Just do it this way. All right, so our height is 9 5/8. Of course it is. All right, let's do it 9 1/2. Let me do 9 1/2 and see where that lands me, because one of them, remember up here, because we have a pocket, I don't have a strip that goes across here. I suppose I could have put one there and just cut it off, but what I did in this one was I just brought the liner all the way to the top. So even if these are a little uneven at the bottom, there's going to be something in there. You won't necessarily see them together. So let's just see where we go with 9 1/2. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1/2. I think my thing is loose. I mean, I don't want it to be tight, but okay. Let me see what that leaves me on this side. If I put that all the way up at the top. Okay, we can do that. Let's cut the other one 9 1/2. And I might put it over the line just a smidge. Wait. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1/2. The one that's a smidge longer will go on the side with the pocket, I guess, because it's got to go up higher, right? So let's see how that works. So this is going to go over here, and this is going to go over here, and it's going to line up so that there's peekaboo top and bottom a little bit anyway. Oh, it's not a lot. That's why I guess. And then over here, if I put this one all the way up at the top, it's about the same. And anything I want to trim off, I can. And I do want a little bit on the side. So, all right, let's get our glue mat out and glue our liners down. And we will be, actually, we'll be done. I'm going to let this one go at, I just wanted to show you guys this thought on making some little journals. If you've got some envelopes and they're in good shape and you got a window and you want to make a cover with your window and all that. Is this the longer one? See, look what I did. Nope, that's the longer one. I almost think I need to take a little bit more off. All right, guys. How do I want to do this? Actually, I'm going to glue all over this. This is what I did when I did the first one. So I glue all over this piece. And then I glue right along the edge of here because it's a different height. just in case. No rhyme or reason. Just want to make sure. Okay. Make sure we got a little bit of a gap at the top, a little bit of a gap at the bottom and the side. Move that. All right. And we just glue that down, and is that our front? Nope, that's our back. Our back is done. So we're just gonna smush it all the way around. Make sure, my worry on these, of course, is the corners and the edges, especially since this isn't, I mean, it's a cover. It's going to get opened and closed and opened and closed and handled a lot. So I just want to make sure that the edges on this are nice and secure. Okay. And then we do the same thing on this side, except remember we have the top pocket. So we want to make sure that we get it glued down securely, but we don't want to glue our pocket shut, which does have a tendency to happen, not the end of the world. Usually I can just stick my bone folder in there and open it back up. It usually just glues like the top little edge when glue seeps in there. So it's not like it gets down in there and actually seals the pocket. I'd say these projects that I've been doing are, ooh, what happened with that? The other thing is if I get it up to the top, because I even it up down here on the bottom and it's hanging over, I can always trim it. I mean, oh, I forgot to put the extra glue in there on the, that's okay. I think it'll be all right. All right, and there we have it, guys. That is our cover with pocket. And that pretty much did come to the edge. I mean, it's not really, there's a little bit up here where it seems to be uneven, but just trim that little bit right there. And there we have it. Pocket with window and lined. So I hope you guys liked these. Maybe you'll give them a shot with some of the envelopes that you have. And I think they'll be fun to play with. I think they'll be fun to make little mini journals out of. And I'm looking forward to using them as soon as I figure out what theme I want to stick on them. And I will see you guys in the next mess making video. Bye-bye.